On this week's episode of XOP's Whitetail Addictions, 2 words, Iowa bucks.
Got the big boy down.
XOP presents Whitetail Addictions.
Hi, I'm Andre DeQuisto. Most of you probably know me from Lone Wolf Portable Tree Stands. I sold that company back in 2006, moved to Iowa and have retired there and been basically enjoying hunting, managing whitetail, and spending some time with the wife and family and just enjoying life in general. The property we bought had quite a bit of CRP on there, which was good for our management of the deer. We made a decision to actually start actively farming this property. So once that CRP came out, we put it back into crop rotations, bought some equipment, and I'm just having a ball. I've always done food plots. I put in over 30 acres of food plots a year with small equipment and that. And now working this land is a passion that I didn't think I'd tap into. Since then, a unique opportunity has arisen. I've been approached by a company, XOP, to consult to develop a new cast aluminum tree stand. I've always had other thoughts and ideas and designs that I wanted to take to the next level, but with the selling of the company, I didn't have the opportunity to do it. Also, the kids had made statements that they wanted to stay involved in the outdoor industry. With my daughter in Whitetail Addictions and son taking over and helping at XOP, they wanted to bring the show back, Whitetail Addictions. So here we are. Spent the early season bouncing around, just checking some things out. We did have cameras out. We knew there was one decent deer that I was after on the property. A lot of other nice deer and a lot of small deer.
2 little tiny bucks fighting in the field. Alfalfa's looking good. Was just put in this year.
That's all I seen early was a lot of dinks running around, almost looked like the lands of the misfits. Nothing really of any decent caliber. Had a bumper crop of apples. That we had some old apple trees that never produced apples that were all in the bedding areas. So I had a funny hunch that a lot of those deer were just staying right in that bedding area feeding and not making much movement south of the fields.
So I got down to a little scouting and found some fresh grapes that opened up here. See if we can't get some video on my favorite spot of the property.
about pre-rut, some things started happening where a few does went into cycle early, and we started having some better deer moving on the property.
With some mature bucks showing themselves during the day, Andre knew if he was patient, he would find the one buck he was after. In the meantime, he recalls a hunt from a few years back on a big Iowa brute.
The season was pretty much done. The rut was winding down. It's more late season stuff, and a lot of these bucks were coming through some open ground, coming on a pretty thin draw, and bedding on a flat. Huge rubs developed overnight, scouted a spot, set up a new set on a steep bank. I can come in from behind and not be noticed, climb right up in that tree without anything even knowing you're there. I think that deer actually spotted a screw and step I had that I usually go around the back side of the tree, and because of the lay of the land there, I had to have a couple steps out in front. And that deer, the wind was right, never got a whiff of what was going on. I think he literally spotted that one step and was ready to bug out. Paying attention and close to small details. Something as simple as putting your sticks on the backside of a tree where the deer come in and don't see them. A screw and step just a little out of place. You could get one deer that's been hunted or just got a little better wit about them, and it could cost you a hunt. So I like to really get specific on how I set up. Ended up being a pretty slow year, and all of a sudden activity started picking up. And if you took the entire early season the few months and all the time I spent in there, ended up having one really good day. It was just a clash of the titans. Get a chance to watch those two bucks fight for over 10 minutes was phenomenal. You can imagine I've seen a lot of bucks fight in the past. I've seen some pretty good battles. But after filming that one, I actually went back and I couldn't tell from in the field and watched the fight at the house. I don't know if you noticed the blood on that deer's antlers, but he must have gotten a scuffle before he got out to the field, because the G2s and 3s were covered in blood and his brow tines had almost 2 inches deep of blood on them. It actually was filmed the next day before Cody's kill, fighting again about a quarter mile away with some other bucks that he was hunting. Getting down was kind of a unique deal there too. I ran out of tape, it got dark, and that deer just kept coming out in the open fields, and he'd go back into the wood line and be milling around in there, busting up some brushes. And any buck that would enter that field, he'd come charging out and attack. So now here I am in that dark trying to pack up and get down. I was a little leery of getting down in there, so I usually don't, but I use the light and actually use the little vocals to let that deer know that that was another buck leaving that field. Pretty exciting footage, pretty exciting couple of days hunt, and I think that made the entire season worth it this year. That 160-inch 8, we actually did find, he made it through the season, and we actually did find the sheds of him. Pretty massive. We got a lot of good video footage of him. It's a deer that was living on a property. We're hoping he makes it this year, and we can see if there's this deer makes any gains.
Justin Hollinsworth. I'm with Lone Wolf Custom Gear, and I've been a long-time Lone Wolf guy. I've been hunting out of DeQuisto Series stands for almost 20 years now, and I was really excited this year with all of our new stand sticks, cameras, and now with our bow that Darton is designing and putting on for us. This is the new Lone Wolf Custom Gear Lobo. It is 33 inches axle to axle. It's got a 6-inch brace height. It's 80% let off. And with my whole hunting setup, we are shooting about 310 feet per second. Feels really good in the hand. It's got the same coating, the soft touch technology that is on our stands and sticks, along with everything that everybody's always come to know what Lone Wolf is all about. It is actually, I've been a little reluctant on shooting a different bow. I've only shot one manufacturer for probably the last 15 years, and I can tell you this bow is more forgiving, it's faster, my groups are tighter, and I'm really looking forward to hunting with it this year.
During the season, I came to the assumption that I couldn't just keep bouncing around and not having something to hunt for. So there was a G2 buck that Cody was hunting earlier on the north side of our property, and I decided that at least I'd have something to go after. I would just go scout the area out, set my sights on maybe going after him, and then that travel or wait for cameras to develop a picture, or wait for another big one to show, or just maybe bump into some different deer on that side of the property. Again, back to the issue of detail, you know, you'll set up a stand, we do some trimming early, have some spots that we got great expectations for, spend a lot of time pruning early and getting stands in, and then sometimes don't even sit in those stands. So even when you're heading in, running a gun with stand and you're backsliding in, you still got to do some trimming. So sometimes you'll have to take that trim saw right with you in a tree and do some even before light sometimes. So again, it seems like the easy way in is not the successful way. It seems like the harder struggle you got with setting up, accessing a stand, seems to be some of your better hunts. Manage for bigger deer. We do have bigger deer. 4.5 is where they need to get. We're trying to get them a little older than that, just isn't happening. A lot of things I do is just pay attention to detail, whether it's the wind or the sets. I like to run cameras, see what's on the property.
Andre and the rest of the wrecking crew use their covert cameras to closely manage their resident deer herds. This helps them not only see how many bucks are using the property at any given time during the year, but to help them strategically position themselves to harvest the exact buck of choice.
This is a unique property, and where I've been on other properties that have big deer that'll move in during the rut. You'll get deer that you've never seen before come through, and it just doesn't seem to be with the lay of the land and the ground that we have. What we have on the property is what we have to hunt, and nothing really moves in. So if you don't have any really big top end deer for the year, chances are you're not going to see them, and we'd head somewhere else. We had to cut our CRP before the season. It was like a golf course in there. No grass, no cover, just all the woods. So we had to get unique on coming in from the backside, coming in through some draws and cricks. I also use vehicles to get in for longer range. Some of the spots I got to get to are a mile in the morning. The quieter the better. I utilize mopeds, mountain bikes, smaller CC bikes that are a little less conspicuous going in. I'll take that thing in. I got 3 spots that I have in the side of these cliffs. Park that thing in there and get to hunt and not have more than 25 yards to walk to get into that stand. That's been working out in some situations, others you can't. You're just going to have to rely on a good old-fashioned ankle mobile and head in. Turns out I scouted a deer, got some intel from Cody on where it was bedding. He was right. I jumped it in that same wide open CRP field. Set up a stand, started to go in, and bumped into him the first morning. I actually killed him the first time in within an hour.
believe I got that done. The split cheek tube buck that Cody filmed earlier. This thing looks like a mule deer, not a whitetail, but the discrepancy how big it is, we'll see now. We'll be able to put tape on it. Get down and track here.
I ended up hitting him. Look at the great hit. I thought he'd be laying right over a hill.
Found a broken arrow. Looks like there's some lung blood on there, but I only got one lung. The shot might have been a little further back. It's been a couple hours. It's real cold. We're gonna take up the trail in here now in this draw here. So let's see what we got.
Took up the track in, had good blood, figured I'd find him right over the hill, and then kept going, finding more blood, longer distance, and then all of a sudden it got to a point where I thought, well, maybe I better just let this thing be.
Well, here's the end of that story. Ended up shooting it, thinking it would be just down in the draw, and then followed the blood trail further and further, and it went quite a ways, so I figured I'd back out. It's just mauled with coyote trails and tracks, and they've just been having a good old time down here. So we're gonna tag this deer, probably take the horns out of here, and we're gonna snare this whole area. We'll get off 100 yards off of this carcass from every end, so we'll try and clean these coyotes out, because we've been having a big problem with them here for the last couple of years.
Ended up getting 2 of the coyotes, missed a couple other ones, and then trapped a couple a little bit later. So we got something out of it too. Coyote's been a huge problem for us in the last few years. We have the good area, a lot of the main bedding, and these coyotes like to live right in that same area, and they end up moving in and moving some of them bigger bucks off. So our program for the next couple of years is to try and control the coyotes in this area.